Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Bell, aka Sakui, and welcome back to another official video dev diary for Aura History Untold. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell as we're going to be putting out a new episode every single week. And today, we're going to be taking a look at managing your cities and your nation in Aura. So to help guide us through this journey, I am thrilled to introduce our guest for the day, none other than Brian Wade, the creative director at Oxide Games. And my friends, Brian is a true gaming industry veteran, having worked on everything from Command & Conquer to Battle for Middle-earth, and having previously won a BAFTA for his work as lead programmer on Civilization V. So Brian, welcome to the show.
Hi, Stephen.
So I guess in order to begin and start things off, we would love to know a little bit more about your background and your career in the gaming industry. So I have to ask, what is the first game that you remember playing as a kid and made you think, man, I want to make games too. I'm going to do this. This is my path.
Well, I'm a little older than that. I mean, the first game I played as a kid was probably Pong, besides some board games, which didn't really inspire me. But later on, the Microprose 4X games were what really made me think that their Civilization, Master of Orion, Master of Magic, those games really prompted me to think, yeah, I'd kind of like that.
That is something I can do. Well, if anything, since you've been doing this for obviously a while, what are some of the highlights that you've had throughout your career in games?
Well, got a BAFTA for Civ 5.
Some good stuff.
The big thing is a lot of the people I worked with, really great people, great designers, great programmers, great artists. It's just wonderful working with some of these guys.
Well, that does sound fun. So you are the creative director, and I imagine that from that, you're probably wearing a lot of different hats on a project like Aura. What is one of the more unexpected parts of your job that our viewers might not know about that you've had to deal with?
Dealing with animal AI and behavior. We've got lots of animals in the living world, and I had to write their general behavior on how do sheep behave? How do wolves behave? How do wolves behave when they're near sheep? And vice versa.
Let's dive into city management then. What are the starting goals when you were trying to make your first city inside of Aura?
Usually I worry about just getting the economy rolling, getting enough of the primary resources so that I don't have to worry about them much later. I mean, they're always going to be a problem, but you need enough to get started. And that means getting enough wood, stone, food, and money to make sure that you can do the rest of the things you want to do in the game.
People do need a lot of different things. It's a strategy game. So that means you're going to be having to deal with their resources. You're going to need to keep your citizens happy. You're going to need to do all of that. Are there like specific strategies that the players can utilize to keep their citizens happy?
The biggest ones are building certain improvements that can do this. The inn is one of the early ones that'll make people happier. That and making consumable items. There are various ones, beer, for example. Yes, I know that this was going on a theme here, but in Aura, beer will make people happy if consumed. So
the amount of times that I've covered beer in history and all the different effects that it's had, like I totally get that. There's a reason why in history it was used as payment.
It is a genre convention, I know.
No, I mean, for centuries, it was used as payment for people to do stuff. Like, they wanted beer. I totally get it. So, I mean, people are going to consume a lot of it, I'm assuming, and a lot of cities are going to consume more resources. Do they consume more as they grow? Like, as they get bigger?
Yes, they do. It gets harder and harder to manage a city as it gets larger. The people are less happy, less healthy, although hopefully more productive.
What happens if I just don't give my citizens food? Like if I just don't care and say like, hey, I care more about building my monument, don't build farms.
Well, at a certain point, they will starve and die.
Like the population will actually start crashing. You'll see that relatively in the game.
It will go down, yes.
And if I'm improving things, I guess, because over time, technology is obviously going to change.
Yep.
They're going to see improvements over time. Are more advanced improvements going to replace ancient ones through the game? Or am I still going to have like logging camps with handsaws?
Yes, there will be, for example, a farm is one of the very earliest things you'll have. In the later game, you'll have an industrialized farm, which, you know, it will have much greater output of food and such.
I do totally get that. Is there any particular one that players should be excited about? Like one of these improvements that is just a huge jump when it transitions?
Well, pretty much all of them are. When we have later versions of these more primary buildings, the later versions are significantly more powerful than the early ones.
That does make sense. And I'm assuming the later ones are going to be more industrialized. So we're talking like electricity, if you got
Yes.
factories, all the mechanization. You said mechanized agriculture already. So is pollution going to be a factor then?
Yes, it will. As you get into the later game, once you start getting into having factories and power plants, at that point, pollution will be a element of the game and will need to be handled.
Awesome. And now I know fans are excited for our next segment. So let's talk about managing your nation in Aura. Because Aura is a game that is pretty huge. It has a huge roster of playable leaders and world nations from what we could see. So how did you design the leader system? Were there any balancing issues trying to figure out, okay, what trait do we give this leader?
Well, what made it a little tricky was we had started out with having a fairly large pool of traits that were shared amongst all leaders. But we found that that wasn't quite as satisfying. So we added a special trait for every single leader that is a one-off. Now, we still have the original traits there, and we use those to try to balance the stronger special trait by giving more or less of the others to make up for it.
When you're talking about managing your city and your nation itself, should players focus more on building up their capital or to try and spread their influence out over as wide of an area as they can with multiple cities?
Okay, that's actually a tough one because I've seen both work. I've seen players do very well with one mega city, and others do very well by spreading wide. My personal inclination is to spread wide. I just like covering the map with my cities.
You're building a city, you're building a nation. That means a lot of governments. And so how do players unlock new government types for their nation? And what are the benefits?
New government types are unlocked via technologies.
Okay. All right. What would be like the beginning versus how does it transition?
Okay, some of the early ones, well, they are generally less powerful, but some of them are viable through the entire game. One of the first things that they give that you have to consider is they increase the number of cities you can have at once.
Oh, there's a limit.
So, yes, that is actually one of the major considerations. They also have differing tax rates options, as well as a player selectable set of buffs that go with each government form.
Thank you so very much, Brian. I'm beyond excited to check out the city management aura and hopefully at that point leading my nation to victory.
It's been really great talking with you, Stephen, and I hope you enjoy the game.
And thank you to our fans for watching. There's much more to come, so you can stay up to date with the game by subscribing to our YouTube channel for future Dev Diary episodes, follow us on the social media platforms of your choice, and join the Insider program for an opportunity to play the game before launch. And don't forget to wishlist Aura History Untold on Steam. Lastly, I have to say that we are giving away PC Game Pass codes on our brand new Facebook page every single Tuesday and another code on Twitter every Wednesday. So be sure to follow and answer each week's prompt for your own chance to win. Thank you once again, and we will see you all next time.